What have we learned in working together as a husband and wife team? Hello, I'm Vicki Simons.
And I'm Mike Simons.
And we're with TruckDriversMoneySavingTips.com. We welcome you tonight to our last in the 90-day series of everyday Facebook Live broadcasts. This is our Leadership Wednesday conclusion, I guess you might say. It doesn't mean that we're going to not ever do Facebook Live broadcasts again. It's just that we're going to back off a lot. It has been a long haul, and I hope to goodness that you have gotten some great value from our perspectives and the things that we've shared over a period of time. We do have a few tips that we want to be able to impart to you and share, hopefully fairly briefly, about some of the things that we've done. We actually began working together, the day that we got married. But when I say working together, we actually we became co-workers, with our first trucking company. When we started out together, actually we weren't together. We were working under our individual trainers, and then we came together as a team, husband and wife, for almost 3.5 years. And we learned a lot about working together. The cab of a truck, the area inside a truck is way too small to have any sorts of long-term disagreements or grudges or things that don't work too well together. So we're just going to share these few things together and expound on them a little bit. And I hope that you get value. If you do, please give likes, shares, and hearts.
So here we go. Number 1, 2 heads are better than one, and bouncing ideas off one another.
Okay, when we were first looking at trucking, I was thinking he's the one who's going to be doing the trucking. Okay, he was the one who was handed an application for one of the nationwide trucking companies, and we ended up moving from where he had gotten that application back down to South Carolina, which is where we are now in our home state. And Mike had seen something, I think, in the newspaper about some sort of a little seminar, orientation at like a hotel or something over in Columbia, and we went. And, we were interested in maybe Mike getting on with that, and we ended up talking with the guy who was the recruiter for the truck driving school. And he didn't want to talk there. He wanted us to make an appointment to come back and see him. And so we did. We went back over to Columbia, and we're talking, and the guy looks at Mike, and he says,
"Is she going to drive too?"
Yeah.
And I chuckled. I said, "Vicki, driving?" He said, "Sure." I said, "Can you imagine my wife driving, get behind the steering wheel of an 18-wheeler?" And he said, very straightforwardly, without missing a beat, "If her feet can touch the pedals, yes, sir, I can."
And we ended up going to truck driver training school, and actually one of the instructors, the classroom instructors, was a woman who was more petite than I am, and she had been successfully driving a truck. In fact, we have seen other women, petite women, on the road doing some things. In fact, Mike came across a lady who was a flatbed hauler. She was, every bit as able to get those loads strapped down as he is. So when you talk about 2 heads are better than one and bouncing ideas off of each other, because people generally, married couples, people, significant others, if you will, tend to have differences of perspectives and different personality types. Okay, they have, because of those different perspectives, they can give some, shall we say, some balance, to ideas that come through. So one of the things that I did when we were looking at doing the truck driver training school together, obviously the first thought that came to my mind was, well, if something happens to him, I'll be able to drive the truck. It's not just like I'm a passenger with him. Now, I have been a passenger with Mike twice. One of those times was definitely a full-time situation. But the thing was, and we have actually packed up the stuff in our house, put it into storage twice. Once when we were driving together and once when I was a passenger with him. But the thing about it is we work well together, 2 heads are better than one.
And it was also that way when it came to putting together the website, TruckDriversMoneySavingTips.com. What about being able to do this? And we can tell you that although Vicki has done a great deal of the research and has done probably all of the writing, I have had input into the site as well, significant input. And so she has had times to come and ask me, what about this situation, what about that situation, and being able to want to get some clarification. But you can rest assured that even though Vicki is the main impetus behind TruckDriversMoneySavingTips.com, I also definitely have a lot of input in terms of what goes into the website. And so we were doing, dividing up the sections. What are the sections we want to talk about? So we bounce these ideas off of one another, okay? We work together to develop the site that has over 1,400 pages to be able to benefit you.
That's right.
Moving on, number 2 here, when one of us may be weak in one area, the other is probably stronger. I know that I have a tendency to not be as strong in my writing skills, and so referring back to TruckDriversMoneySavingTips.com, the wording that you see there, almost all of it entirely is Vicki's, but she has asked for my input in places with being able to, how do we want it worded this? How do we be able to share it more clearly? And so there have been times where it's been a document or something that I have written, and I said, okay, well, take a look at this, and she'll come back a little while later, and after editing it, and say, does this say a little more what it is you want it saying? And which it has. And Vicki's been able to also take maybe some areas where it is that she happens to want to be weak and come and wants to be able to have my input. So the complementary differences where one is stronger, the other is going to probably want it being weaker, and vice versa. So,
but you can work together
exactly.
for that cohesion.
Exactly.
Okay, whether it is the team drivers, if you happen to be the same gender, or if you happen to be a husband and wife as we are. Okay, we started out in trucking together as a husband and wife team, and it was wonderful. Okay, we were able to see all of the lower 48 states and Canada within that first almost 3 years. Okay, I think it was almost the first year and a half or so. But it was wonderful to be able to see the country. Not that we were able to see all of it, because there's some places that you can't go in a truck. But it was wonderful at the time. We just would not trade those times for anything. Okay, another situation with respect to where one's strong, the other's weak. Because Mike's bigger than I am. Okay, he's able to do more of the brawny grunt work. Okay, physical labor. Okay, I remember there was a situation he had to unload a very large, heavy load of, I think it was canned potatoes or something one time. The boxes were like 33 pounds a piece, and it was everything I could do with my petite stature to be able to lift the dadgum thing. So he ended up doing almost all that work. There was another situation where he had to unload, I think it was like 18,000 pounds of cough drops or something. But anyway, it was one of those situations where also with being able to open and close the trailer doors and doing some of the the sliding of the tandems and things, he actually did most of that work, and I helped from inside the cab. And it was just one of those things. Some drivers don't, when they're a team, they say, well, look, I've got to be able to do all this stuff myself as well. Yes, you may. Okay, it's just that's the way it worked for us. We learned where our strengths and weaknesses were so that we could complement each other.
And you talk about being able to go into the customer. I was generally the person who went in to go do, the customer service, seeing the shipper, seeing the receiver. Vicki is, writing down information. She was keeping the records in the truck, making sure that what it was written down was accurate, the dispatches and times being able to helping out with the routing, where is it we're going. She would be sitting up front there with me as we're going into an area and helping to be able to route me and make it easier for me. There was another situation I was thinking of in working as far as a load was concerned. You mentioned about being able to slide the tandems, and we would work on developing hand signals, backing into a dock that could wind up being extremely difficult. She'd be down there on the ground. I'll be honest with you and telling you, I've tossed more than one flashlight out of frustration. Okay. And it's like, the more frustrated I got, the harder it was to try to wind it back into the dock. And so had it where it's just, let's switch. She put it in. That happened a few times where it's like I was frustrated. There was no way it was going in, and let's just switch places. And she'd wind up putting it right in. But she could see many times how the trailer was, angling, how it was jacking right on around in, and we'd use hand signals, we'd use a handheld CB. She would be my eyes on the ground, and it was times where it's like when I need that second set of eyes, the weakness here that I can't completely see, she'd be there on the ground being able to help me out. Let's work together to wind up getting the job done. So that was a wonderful experience for me as well. Moving along, number 3, with a joint vision, we can work together to make it happen. If you were to come into our home here today, we have what is called a vision board. What is it that we want to do together as a husband and wife team that goes beyond the auspices as far as professional driving is concerned? And so we need to have a pretty good chunk as far as finances coming in are concerned to make the vision that we have a reality, to be able to create a legacy that will outlive us. So the question, drivers, I'm going to toss to you here is this, okay? What do you want to have happen? Are you working with somebody? Are you, guys, are you working with your wife? Are you working with your family, with your home support team? What's the joint vision that you want to see happen, that when the day comes that you're no longer in trucking, maybe even, God forbid, the day that you're no longer living, something that is going to live beyond you, that you will be remembered for? What's your vision? Why are you in trucking? I know that may be a very hard question what I'm asking, okay, but there's got to wind up being another reason than, just going another mile down the road and, just trying to wind up bringing in a paycheck. A paycheck, while needed, is too small a thing to live for. Just say, I want to see the country. I may be fine and wonderful, okay, but what is it you're going to want to be remembered for when your day comes and you're no longer here on planet Earth? How are you working to make that a reality?
Okay, there's another thing too. Our first vision, if you will, was to pay back our federal student debt, those loans that we had taken out when we went to truck driver training school.
We did.
And so I think it was within about a year and a half we had those things paid off, and then we worked another, a while. And then we had a pretty good amount of money set aside, and we actually went into business. Now, that particular business we closed down, but we've got another business now. And the thing about it is every single thing that we've done, I consider it sort of like a stepping stone to the next level, whatever it is that we've been able to do. And so as we've gotten to a certain place to be able to move and grow. Now, there are times when Mike has been injured on the job, okay? And that's a very difficult thing to bear, and I've talked very forthrightly about his injuries in the past. But the thing about it is he's been, I think you've had 3 injuries in trucking, okay? One of them was actually on a highway. One of them was while he was stationary, and there was another one where he slipped and fell off of a tractor, ended up hurting his back. And there may have been something else that I've slipped my mind, but the thing about it is when a trucker is not working, okay, generally speaking, unless there's some sort of a workman's compensation or workers' compensation benefit that kicks in, the paycheck stops. So, when you talk about the joint vision of trucking, okay, also consider, I'm going to ask you to consider, and I've talked about this in past broadcasts, what's after trucking, okay? We happen to know of a situation, a driver earlier this year was unable to get his DOT medical card recertified. And within 2 days, he went from being gainfully employed in the trucking industry to not being a trucker anymore. And this was a huge adjustment to his family, and it's kind of like, oh, what are we going to do now? So there was not that paycheck to rely upon. So things like this happen all the time. Even accidents on the road that you have no control over. So just when you're working on that joint vision, also bear in mind what's after trucking, what happens, okay? And you will probably want to review your insurance policies and make sure that you have some things in place in the event that something bad happens. You don't want it to happen, you just in the event that it does happen. All right, last thing, number 4.
And that is that our communication skills have gotten not only stronger, but better. After 25 years of a wonderful marriage here, I have learned to be able to share my heart with my wife. She has learned to share her heart with me. It has been a loving, trusting relationship. We knew we had good communication early on, but when you wind up working together in your marriage and you come from that position of trusting one another. I remember one situation, and Vicki has probably alluded to it, and that is we're up in, I think it was Montana or Idaho, and it was during the night, and I wound up waking up, and I pull the Velcro back from behind the from back behind in the sleeper, and I'm seeing what we affectionately refer to as BF cubed, big fat fluffy flakes. And it was snowing to beat the band. And all I told my wife was, keep moving.
Don't stop.
Don't stop.
And I said I have no intentions of stopping.
And
we didn't even have any snow chains on the truck at that point. It was when we were driving for U.S. Express. In fact, at the time that we were with U.S. Express, they didn't have any Jake brakes on the truck. So there were some interesting things that happened there. But yeah. My husband talks about having to learn to trust me. Okay, not that he didn't trust me, but there's a difference between trusting someone to live together with them in the house and trusting someone to drive you when you're sleeping. And so, some people may figure that's kind of weird, but the thing about it is there's a huge trust issue there, and so he learned how to do that. So anyway, I'm sure we could probably go on and on and on about all the different things that we have experienced together or separately. I will encourage you drivers, if you have a home support team, stay in touch with them. Okay? Let them hear from you. Don't just make it a gripe session when you talk. You want to not only try to build up and understand, but also be built up and understand. Okay, if you're having some issues out there, and Mike has certainly had his issues, something going on with a fleet manager, a driver manager, a customer, and he just felt the freedom to vent on me. Okay, I would rather him vent on me than vent on a member of the motoring public or a shipper or receiver out there. Okay, so ladies, if you are a trucker's wife out there on the road, and if you're back home, or even if you are on the road with your husband, give him the freedom to do that, but also seek to speak words of encouragement and positive things into your husband. Okay, if you happen to be those types of families that read the Bible, take those Bible truths and drip those into your husband, into your wife. Okay, and remember that the Lord is bigger than both of you, and He's able to help you to overcome some of these hard situations. Also, I know it sounds kind of trite, but if you have a lemon, try somehow to make a lemonade. Okay, our website, Truck Drivers Money Saving Tips, really it started as a rant, to be honest with you. I've talked about this in the past, but those little pot and pop, cheaply made, expensive to buy trucker junk pieces of 12-volt appliances that we kept buying. We bought 8 of them, okay, and they kept breaking because they were so poorly made. Okay, they just didn't last any time at all. And I'm like, somebody really ought to do something about this. Okay, someone ought to say something, and that's how our site was born. Okay, and it more from just complaining about something to wanting to do something positive. Okay, to say, okay, this was our good experience or bad experience, and here's where you can learn about it. That's why we're so transparent, and we want to be able to help you. Okay, if we can help you. We don't give marital advice unless it's Christian based, and we're not licensed counselors, but we have been around the block for 25 years now, and the Lord has blessed us in many respects, and we love to be able to help you if we can. Please feel free to get in touch with us through our website or leave a comment below. If it's something personal, send us an email, okay?
And I think also one of the things we shared, now that we've come to the end of this 90-day commitment, we have shared a lot of information. Vicki has done most of it. I've had maybe just a few videos that I put out, and we have honestly sought through these videos and the 1,400 plus pages that are located on TruckDriversMoneySavingTips.com to create value for you, to give you something to think about, something to be able to act upon. The last 90 days has been about us, okay? This is not to say that we are stopping doing Facebook videos, because we're not going to stop doing Facebook videos. We're just not going to do them as often. Once a week, maybe twice a week. But here's where now we talk about communication skills. This is where we would love to hear from you. Mm-hmm. What do you want to share? What is it that we can talk about that's going to benefit you based upon your input, asking for advice? What do I do? Can you talk about this? Have you had any experience with that? We want to be able to hear from you, so you can put down at the bottom of this video in the comments section, what is it you want to talk about? Come to our Contact Us page on TruckDriversMoneySavingTips.com. If you want to watch in this video, put questions, put comments down there, because ultimately TruckDriversMoneySavingTips.com is not about us. It is truly about you, and so we want this website to be valuable for you. We want you to be able to share your learning experiences. We want your product reviews. We want your service reviews. The fuel stops, the showers, the restaurants, the meals out that you have. You can do that on our website. We have the app that has now come out, that's now been released. We'd love to hear from you that way. So we have tried to honestly do a lot to be able to be accessible, to hear from you. Okay, and this is exactly what we have wanted to do. But drivers, now it's your opportunity. It's your opportunity to step up to the plate, okay, to share your experiences and basically be able to be a benefit to other drivers that are out there. Because again, we share from a limited perspective. Mm-hmm. Okay, we've never been owner operators. We've never been lease purchase. Okay, we've never been independent. We've always ever been company drivers. So there is experience we don't have, and if you do have experience from something other than a company drivers, we would love to hear from you. Company drivers, we want to hear from you. We want to know what it is that you're going through. So step up to the plate and share with us what you're feeling. Share with us what it is that you're thinking. If there's something we can do as far as a future video here is concerned, we'd love to hear from you.
So, as we conclude 90 days and we start our 26th year of being married together, we just want to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to be able to add value to your life. And if we can help you, please get in touch with us. We're Mike and Vicki Simons. We're with TruckDriversMoneySavingTips.com. On behalf of both of us, we wish you safe travels and lots of money-saving opportunities on the road. Have a great night, drivers. Thanks.